What's up, nerds of wrestling, and happy Friday, and welcome to today's episode of What's Up Wrestler, a podcast by nerds of wrestling. Yes, it is I, your host, Justin Del Rio. Who else would it be? My guest at this very time is Gio Galvano. Gio, what is going on? How you doing, man?
Justin Del Rio, what's up, dude? Great to be on here.
Hell yeah, dude! I'm glad to have you on. Like I told you before we started, shout out to Joey G. Joey G talked very highly of you, and your podcast with him was nothing short of excellent.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, Joey G. We actually just a couple days ago at Invictus in Bloom, Joey G was there in the flesh, and that guy he had his sign and everything. Him and his buddy Billy, and
Oh,
we had a great time. It was a great show.
the one thing you could count on with Joey is he will always have a sign. Always has signs.
He always finds a way. He'll make that
Always.
anything, and he'll make it happen.
Honestly, man. But how you doing, man? Like I know we're going through a bit of a rough patch right now. I always ask that question in the beginning of my podcast, but it's just a question I feel that has to be asked. How you doing during this crazy time?
Yeah, dude, they're crazy times, but I'll tell you what. As far as my wrestling career goes, I mean, this is nothing slowed down for Gio Galvano. And honestly, man, during the pandemic, I've had some of the best opportunities of my career so far, and it's been an incredible year and a half. It really has.
So you really didn't go through like a rough patch, like it just the
There
roller
was
coaster
a few
just kept
months
rolling, huh?
right? The few months in the beginning where everything was shut down, but once like September, October rolled around, there was some local promotions that started running some shows. Invictus Pro Wrestling started. Global Syndicate Wrestling was right around the corner, and in October I got to go down to Nashville and I got to wrestle for Impact Wrestling.
No
So
shit.
I've had, like I said, and Northeast Wrestling started up for me in October as well. I started my first matches with Northeast Wrestling, and so I mean, I'm telling you, dude, the best opportunities of my career so far have come in the past few months.
And it feels like your opportunities are just gonna keep coming and coming, man.
Thank you, bro. I mean, the work pays off. That's what I tell people.
I was extremely impressed when I saw you on Northeast Wrestling. Northeast Wrestling is a very high independent promotion, and I know that how long you been wrestling, by the way.
Almost 4 years. Started
Wow.
almost
Okay.
4 years ago. Yeah.
Nice. And was that your first time wrestling for Northeast Wrestling?
Yeah, October. Yup, the Studio Wars.
Nice. You know, I hope to see you at some NEW shows in the future because I'm always there. That's where I met Joey. Shout out again to Joey G. I'm always at NEW, and this has been the longest time since haven't been to an NEW show. It's been over a year, and
Wow.
I'm dying. I'm itching to go back,
That's hard. That's hard, man. I know
dude.
that's easy for you.
It is hard. So tell us a little more about Gio Galvano. How did Gio start in the world of professional wrestling?
So I've been training since day one at Team 3D Academy, which is Bully Ray's school.
Yep.
Where it's in Danbury, Connecticut. There's one in Florida, one in Connecticut. So I've been with the Connecticut affiliate since day one, and I got to train under an NEW superstar, Randy Shawn, over there, and he's been a great mentor to me. So I mean, since day one, I've been over there, and I knew since I was a kid this was something I always wanted to do. And my two passions in life are soccer and professional wrestling. And when I got in the professional wrestling world, uh, I was told from day one, you're never going to look at the business the same. And so on this side of it, it's different than when I was watching, because now it's business, and
Yeah.
it's my career. So there was some adjustments that needed to be made in the way I looked at it, and once I made those adjustments, dude, it's like it's been an incredible journey, and it's just an incredible industry, incredible art form too, and that's what I love, man. I love just learning more about it, and the experiences I've had, some of the best in my life so far, and it's only the beginning.
It's only the beginning. I've heard amazing things about that school, the Team 3D Academy. If I said that correctly, hopefully
Yep.
I didn't botch it. Okay, good. Thank God. Hopefully I didn't go over my head before. No, I know Randy Shawn. I met Randy Shawn. Oh God, back in 2012 at CTWE. Back
Oh,
in
that's right. Yep. Yeah.
back way before. I mean, I know NEW was a thing back then, but I know that it wasn't as big as it was kind of big, but like I know it really blew up once they went started going to Bethany and everything. Growing up, who were some of your favorite wrestlers? You just said you got to train with Bully Ray. Like, how was that? Like, that must have been kind of crazy to watch Bully Ray as a kid, and now you're training with him.
Yeah, no, very very cool. And but he knows how to challenge his students. He knows how to get the best out of his students. And and it's funny because yeah, growing up, the tag team division that he was in, I loved watching them. When I turned on WWE, I loved watching Edge and Christian. I loved watching the Hardy Boys. I loved watching the Dudley Boys. So I mean that when I was a kid, that was the scene. And yeah, I fell in love with that. I fell in love with Edge too growing up. I was a big Edge head.
There you go.
Yeah, so it's funny because my birthday was in January, so my 10th birthday was that New Year's Revolution pay per view where he cashed in the Money in the Bank.
No
And
shit. So you must have been jumping for joy.
I got it for my birthday, and I'm just watching the Elimination Chamber match. No one knew it was going to happen. And all of a sudden, he comes out, and so that was one of the best memories as a kid growing up.
And you had no idea what there's Joey G right there. And you
Oh
had
yeah,
and you had no idea what the Money in the Bank was at the time. Nobody really knew what the whole concept of it was, and
yeah.
obviously now we know what it is, and it plays such a high impact in the world of WWE. You're the first wrestler I've heard say they were a fan of Edge. And I think you're around my age. Shoot, what are you? 25?
Yep. Well, I'm 26. I was born in '95.
Okay,
So
yeah, 26 too.
it's so funny you mentioned that, Justin, because there was there was one day in class where wrestling just came up in the conversation, and
Right.
this is probably around fifth grade, and I these kids found out I liked Edge, and they were all Cena fans, and I'll never forget the look on this one kid's face. He was just like, "How? How do you like Edge? I don't get it." And he couldn't wrap his head around how I liked them. And this is the time like where Edge was such a great heel. You know,
Right.
he was crossing lines that other people weren't crossing. So, but I liked him even before that, so I just stuck with him. You know what I'm saying?
Right. To
And
this,
it was just a funny story. I'll never forget that day in CCB.
I love that story. I gotta agree with that kid though. To be fair, a lot of kids at the time where they were fans of baby faces. They didn't understand like how awesome the heels were until they got older. I'm sure that kid
Yeah,
is.
yeah, exactly,
I'm,
exactly.
I'm sure that kid was like, "Yo, Edge was awesome." Like I didn't get it then, but I 100% get it now. Like if we had the mindset, imagine we had the mindset we have now. Back when we were like 10, we'll be annoying. We'll be like the most annoying people in the world.
Oh my
Like
god,
honestly,
biggest know-it-alls, the biggest
big, biggest
kid.
know-it-alls, everything.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, dude. I mean, you're right. You appreciate the heels when you get older, and there's definitely heels you look back on from when we were younger. Like, wow. And you think, what would I have perceived that wrestler like if I was my age now? Yeah.
Exactly. I work with kids, and a lot of the kids, they're not fans of Roman Reigns anymore because he's a bad guy. But
Uh-huh.
five years ago, my kids at work. Oh, Roman Reigns is the best. And I'm looking at them like, boy, get out of here! Like, yo, sit down. Go, sit down.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the same way. Like, how could you like Roman? Like, what's so special about him?
So these how many kids is it normal for the kids that you work with to like wrestling, or are there just a couple?
It's a couple. Like I work with like all age groups, and it's a couple of kids. I work with the older kids now. I used to work in preschool, and now I'm just working with the older kids for a couple months. But
Oh,
a lot of the older kids are like, oh, I love Roman Reigns, love Roman. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Go sit down. Go sit down, Junior. Whatever.
oh man, that's funny.
That it is. Who else were you like really big fans of when you were younger?
So that same period, like around when I was 10 years old, my older brother he gave me the Rise and Fall of ECW DVD,
Nice.
and that changed the way I looked at wrestling. You know, I saw that DVD and it was like, whoa. And seeing guys, honestly, the guy that stuck out to me the most as a kid was Sabu.
Yeah.
Sabu, man, I loved everything he did, he brought the tables into the mix, and he was bringing the tables in the mix before the Dudley Boys. I mean, I guess around the same time, but he was doing it a lot in ECW. Sabu, almost every match was like something involved with a table, and I loved that as a kid. Just seeing him spring up, do a leg drop through the table, I just loved it.
I feel like a lot of people who back at the time in 05, 06, who just first started watching wrestling when they discovered ECW, like you said, Sabu was like the first wrestler they discovered from ECW, along with like probably like Mick Foley or like Tommy Dreamer and a few others. Obviously, there's so many wrestlers to be named from ECW. What was your mindset when you first watched like an actual ECW match?
Uh, I honestly I loved the weapons when I was a kid. So, like I said, seeing them pull out all that stuff was exciting to me, and just the style of wrestling. High octane, high intensity, very athletic, good mix of characters, and yeah, dude. You mentioned Tommy Dreamer's name growing up, and watching that documentary, you get a sense right away because I wasn't able to watch it when it was live, but watching that documentary, you learn that Tommy Dreamer was the face of the company, and
Yeah,
the head baby face. So I mean, it's cool. He's also been one of my trainers. So honestly, Justin, like to learn from him has been an honor too.
that is crazy just to think about. I find it like so cool to be like, yo, like they're watching these guys on TV, and now like you're stepping foot into the ring with them, taking bumps, locking up with them, running the ropes with them. You must feel like a kid in a candy store, essentially.
I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. I got the best education I can in this business.
That's awesome, man. Tell us a little more about your training. How long did it take you to get booked in your first match after you were done training?
Sorry, Justin, you just chopped up on me a little bit there.
No, you're good. I said, how long did it take you to get booked into your first match after you're
Oh,
done
so
training?
it was a year. It was right about a year when I had my first match, and I've told the story on a couple other shows, and I don't know if you've heard this one, but the oh man, my first match over in Canada, where
No shit. Wow.
it was up in Canada. It was at a House of Hardcore show. I didn't know I was wrestling that night though, Justin. That's the thing. See, I showed up to the arena, and Tommy Dreamer was signing some autographs a couple hours before the show, and I just was going there to help out, pay my dues, be around, and then I went and shook his hand, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't know you were gonna be here. You got your gear?" I was like, "Yeah, great. You're on first. Welcome to Canada."
Oh shit.
That was that, man.
What if you didn't have your gear on you?
If I didn't have my gear, then I wasn't wrestling. So that's why we're taught be prepared. Always be
Yeah.
prepared.
I think that's like the number one written rule in wrestling. Always have your gear. Always have your gear.
There you go. There's the
Well,
prime example.
and to wrestle in Canada must have been something. Like, what was that like?
Oh, that was awesome, dude. I love Canada. I mean, I go there. I'm happy when I'm over there, and they love wrestling, and that's a country with rich wrestling tradition, and so to debut in that country in front of those fans was awesome. And I got to wrestle there a year later, and it was a bigger venue, and there was about 2,000 people there, and I wrestled #MCM. I wrestled Mucho Chris Moljo, and they billed me. We did a whole angle where Chris came out with the Golden State Warriors jersey flag, and this was right after Toronto won the NBA championship. And so then I came out after. They billed me from Toronto, and so the place just they
Went nuts.
their own, and so I was Canadian for a night, and good time.
It's funny. It's funny you say that. You brought up that obviously in Canada wrestling is huge up there. I was interviewing Alexia Nicole not too long ago, and she's from Canada. And I said sorry during the interview. I asked the dumbest question ever. I felt so stupid after. I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe I just asked that. I said, is wrestling big up in Canada? Just completely went over my head. I was like, oh my god, let's just forget. After I asked, I said, sorry, let's just erase that question. Let's act like I didn't even ask that. She goes, "No, you're good. You're good. It happens." I was like, "Oh my god, that was the dumbest question ever."
Man, you definitely could have phrased it differently. You're
Yeah,
in the
probably.
right place, Justin.
It's all
Could have
right.
phrased it differently.
There's no such thing as a stupid question, so it's okay. It's okay. After wrestling in Canada, did you get to wrestle in any other country?
No, so it's been Canada, U.S. But definitely one day I would love to go overseas, whether it's Europe, whether it's Japan, and then of course Mexico, our other neighbor, which with a rich, very very different wrestling history. But I mean, I would love to go to Mexico
Now
and
to
experience some lucha and experience those fans and those people. And that's a country that appreciates soccer too. So I think Gio Galvano would fit pretty well over there, Justin Del Rio. What do you think?
I think so too. Well, okay, so it's funny thing about my last name. A lot of people ask me when Alberto Del Rio first started wrestling. They're like, "Are you related to Alberto Del Rio?" Now, keep in mind, I don't think I mentioned it before, but I was like, I wasn't watching wrestling at the time, so I was like, "Who the hell is Alberto Del Rio? Like, who is that? I don't know who that is." So when I found him on TV, after everybody was asking me if I'm related to him, I'm like, he's Mexican. I'm Puerto Rican. Big
Ah, okay.
big difference. Big difference.
There is a big difference.
So I feel like you're like, okay, Justin, where are you going with this story? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah. No, Del Rio. That's funny. I actually know an Italian guy named Del Rio.
No
So,
shit.
so yeah, it's not totally Mexican. Yeah. So
What?
not just Puerto Rico and Mexico, Justin. You
No
got
shit.
you could be mistaken as a paisano as well.
I never know, man. What the hell? Like, I learn something new every day. What is this? What is this? Oh man, that's funny. You said you discovered ECW a few moments ago in this podcast. How long did it take you to discover the independent scene?
Um, so I was lucky to get my first bunch of matches with House of Hardcore, um, and so that was probably the bulk of my first 2 years of my career was House of Hardcore, and then um, in Northeast Wrestling, Beast and Wrecking Ball Legursky started training at our school,
Yep.
and um, he's been awesome because he's one of those guys. He's like, hey man, hop in the car, let's go, we're going to the show, and so he helped me get into Northeast Wrestling, and which was big, and Invictus got into Invictus from the start, and then it's funny because the camera guy from Invictus was starting his own promotion, Global Syndicate Wrestling,
Yep. I heard
and
about him.
called me
Good
at one of
dude.
the shows, Brandon Askery. Um, so he was helping out Alex Aceta from Invictus, and then he saw me at the show, and so he started booking me, and it's been great, man. So it's been opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, and I'm like I said, man, I'm blessed to have a lot of good people along the journey who were helping me. So.
Yeah, I interviewed Brandon on. I don't want to botch his name, but Brandon from GCW a few months ago. He's a great dude. I remember he had his first show at the Monster Factory. Like, holy shit, bro, that's huge at the Monster Factory. That is insane. Were you? I'm assuming you were at that show.
Yeah. So we did a set of tapings there at the end of January for High Voltage, which is GSW's YouTube show. And that was a great experience. I got to win the GSW Next Gen Championship. And then we had the first of 4 big Fight TV pay per views that he was running. And the first one was, Inception in February, which was also out of the Monster Factory. And yeah, it was a great show, great card. And we got Catalyst coming up in a few weeks.
Yep.
And that's going to be in Ridgefield Park, New Jersey, which is where we did our last set of tapings, which will be out on YouTube each week coming up. And so it's been great, man. It's been really good.
That's insane. I love that. And you named a lot of independent promotions. GSW, Invictus, Northeast Wrestling. There's so much independent wrestling companies out there. Where do you see yourself? Like, where else would you like to go?
Um, I, we're gonna see, man. We're gonna see how this journey unfolds, Justin. I'm like I said, I'm focused on each opportunity in front of
Yep.
me, and making the most of it. So 2021, it's been a hot start to the year, and we're gonna finish even stronger. I mean, we're not even halfway done, and like I said, it's gonna be a busy summer with Northeast Wrestling. They'll be doing shows to be announced, and Global Syndicate Wrestling. We got 3 more big Fight TV pay-per-views, more stuff with High Voltage, so the content's going to be there. Invictus is doing a show in June, and so and there's going to be more that are popping up too. So we'll see where it takes me, Justin. But I'm excited. It's going to be busy.
I wish you nothing but the best of luck, man. It seems like you have such an amazing bright light ahead of you. I hope to see you at a Northeast Wrestling show up here in Connecticut, man. Like we got to meet up, bro. We got
Really,
you got
it's going to happen, Justin. It's going to happen.
we got to meet up, man.
Man.
The other question I wanted to ask was soccer. Were you always a big fan of soccer?
Yeah, always since I was a kid. My dad, he's from Italy, so he introduced us to the
Of
game.
course.
And yeah, we fell in love when we were VHS taping games. Since I was 4 or 5 years old, when Italian soccer games and all that. And yeah, dude, it's one of the passions of my life. Like I said,
That's awesome. I worked at a camp a couple summers ago, and the camp I worked at, there were counselors from all over the world who got to come to the camp and work. So I met people from England, Poland, Australia, and football, so-
Yeah.
soccer, football. We're playing soccer. Football, and they are going in. Like, I'm like, oh my god, like how the hell do you do that? Like, I can't. Like, they're going hardcore with the soccer ball, and I'm just like, I just kicked it. I'm like, there you go. Okay, go do your thing. That's it. Oh man, whatever. Oh man. Before we end this podcast, so we have one final question, and Dylan wants to know, what is your favorite team in
Oh,
football?
Dylan Baracha. I think that's looks like a nice paisano over there. Dylan, well, I'm wearing it. I'm repping them right now. It's AC. Whoop. Right. Oh, there we go. And that's my favorite team. Yeah, since my first jersey, I was 5 years old. Was Andrei Shevchenko, Ukrainian superstar. So, dude, fell in love with AC Milan since. But if you like the Premier League, and I know a lot of people like the Premier League, I'm a big Aston Villa fan. I love Jack Grealish. I love what he's doing over there. So I don't know if Dylan follows, but yeah,
He probably does.
those are my teams.
I actually do have one more final question. Other than football, what other sports do you like?
Honestly, man, it's soccer and wrestling. But don't get me wrong, I like turning on the UFC shows. If
There you
there's a
go.
review, I love turning it on and checking out some MMA. It's what a sport, man.
You're telling me, man. That is awesome. But Gio, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. This was a lot of fun, man. I hope to see you at the show and finally be able to meet you at the show.
You will, Justin. You will, man.
I can't wait. Before we do end this podcast, though, drop those plugs. Where can the nerds find you?
All right, nerds. So you can follow me on Instagram at Gio_Galvano. That's GIO_GALVANO. And on Twitter at Gio_official. Spell the official with a 0. And you will know everything that's going on in the world of Gio Galvano. Justin Del Rio, thank you again, man.
There you go, everyone. Go check out Gio Galvano all over his social media. Gio, yeah, no problem, man. Thank you for coming on. This has been an episode of What's Up Wrestler, a podcast by Nerds of Wrestling. I am your host, Justin Del Rio.